Kevin Spacey is here. This past Sunday, the two-time Oscar winner launched TriggerStreet.com. The website serves as an online community for artists to upload their films and scripts for Spacey and other filmmakers to review. He has also become a very good friend of former President Clinton, and he helped Clinton prepare a film that the president made for the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And here's a look at that film.
B9. You sunk my battleship. Yes.
I want to thank the Academy for this tremendous honor. This may be the greatest moment of my life. I mean, ever since I was a little boy, I've wanted to be a real actor.
I am pleased to have Kevin Spacey back at this table to talk about this new venture and about his recent trip to Africa with his good friend Bill Clinton. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me.
This your idea?
Partly. It came out of a series of conversations that I had with my business partner, Dana Bernetti, who's the president of TriggerStreet.com. I found myself frustrated by a couple of things that have happened in the industry. The first being, as a producer who has a production company, I'm told by lawyers, you can't accept that package that gets delivered to the office, you know, that little screenplay that somebody sends you because it's unsolicited material and you could get sued down the line.
Somebody call you up and say...
So you have to turn all that stuff away, all right? That's just a practical reality. But it frustrates me because, quite frankly, some of the best stuff that I've ever been involved in is the stuff that got chucked over the fence. From people who didn't have agents and didn't have access and didn't, you know, couldn't get on a plane and fly to New York or Los Angeles and bang on doors. So I thought, what can I do about that? I want to break that wall down. That's a whole pipeline to undiscovered talent that I'm being cut off from because I've done well. And the reason I've done well is because I found those kind of people in my early career. So that was part of it. The other part is, if you look what's happened in the agency world, those that represent actors and writers and directors, there used to be a whole lot of these sort of smaller and middle-sized agencies that absolutely exclusively held to the belief that they were there to nurture and develop new undiscovered talent. Well, a lot of those have folded in the last 10 years. In fact, a hefty majority of them have folded. And while there are other agencies, bigger agencies, you know, most of the top agencies in Hollywood don't have a new talent division. They only want to go have new talent when they've heard that they're hot or somebody else signed them, so they want to go poach them. So that's the game that's played. But in the meantime, there's this huge resource out there that doesn't have a place to go or get represented.
Okay, show me what... So I'm an aspiring screenwriter.
All right, so you're an aspiring screenwriter.
And I've been laboring away late into the night.
And I know you have, by the way. People don't know that about you.
Yes, I'm sitting there. And I think this is brilliant. I've got character, I've got story, I've got dialogue, I've got a beginning and a middle and an end.
Fantastic.
And fantastic. And so I want Kevin to take a look at this. And let's assume I didn't know Kevin.
Let's ignore me.
Who else is going to look at it?
Well, I hope if we can wake up the community.
Big guys like you and Steven Spielberg or somebody?
I hope the community will take the time to pay attention to what's going on.
Okay, so what do I do? I got this little script.
So you go, first of all, you go to the website.
TriggerStreet.com.
TriggerStreet.com. There's a lengthy registration process. We did that on purpose to filter and weed out those that aren't really serious. And you have to protect your screenplay. So you've got to go to Library of Congress or the Writers Guild. You protect your work. We can't be responsible for that. Now, if you want to upload your screenplay, this is what we require of you. You have to read, rate, and review 2 other screenplays that already exist on the site. One that we assign, which I'll explain in a minute, and the other that you choose. If you wanted to upload a short film, because that's the other category, we have a short film festival, you'd have to do the same thing. Watch, rate, and review 2 other films. One we assign, one you choose. And the reason we assign at least one of the things that people review is that if a film, for example, doesn't have a great synopsis, or somebody doesn't like the title, or it's not getting the biggest hits or the best reviews, it might end up at the bottom. We want to take those that are on the bottom and give them a fair shot. So we always assign something that hasn't been getting sort of all the... Because there'll be stuff that gets attention. Then you have to write a 50-word review, at least 50 words. You can't just say, I don't like it. You have to support your idea.
You have to show as you read it.
You have to show as you read it, that's right. And then, once you've done that and you've posted your reviews, then you're allowed to upload your material. And then someone else can review your material. Now, here's the great thing. let's say you are this young filmmaker who's written this great screenplay and you've showed it to your family and they tell you it is the greatest thing that they've ever read.
So far, the facts fit.
Is that the best criticism that you're ever going to hear?
No.
Maybe there's criticism that other people who are a like mind and who will be fair, and hopefully, you know, the idea being here that people will be generous in even their negative criticism, you might hear something that helps you take that to the next level. Because you could be the next great filmmaker, but if it's never exposed, you never get it challenged. Nobody ever has a chance to say what they think about it. Who's going to ever know?
So also, the filmmaker might benefit from the fact that you get criticism that you can incorporate and make it a better screenplay.
Exactly.
You know, so maybe it was two-thirds
Exactly.
there, and,
Also,
and it's third there.
Look at it this way. So many of the great directors who started out in film school, or some not film school, used the short form as a way to break into the profession.
Yeah, how long has this been up?
Well, it's been up since Sunday.
Since Sunday?
Yes, since Sunday at about 3 o'clock in the morning we went online, live.
As we record this, it is Wednesday afternoon.
It's Wednesday afternoon. And I would have been happy if 15 people went on and signed up.
So
because,
how many
you know,
came on?
We now have over 5,000 registered members. We have 180 screenplays that have been uploaded, and I think well over 50 short films. Something like 1 million impressions have happened since Sunday, which I don't, you know, the people that know about that, they know what that means.
Yeah.
But
you don't.
Well over 375,000 hits just on Monday. So
is that right?
It's really remarkable, and that's before we had our first launch, which was really Monday. We did a party here in New York, where we're doing several in other cities over the next month.
Now, what else have you been doing? Because I'm reading about you running around the world with your new best friend, former President Clinton, attracting attention. You guys are the best of pals. I mean, you seem to have a real chemistry with each other.
Well, we've known each other a long time. I've known him since before he became president. I worked...
You used to go down to Little Rock, did you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's nothing like a Clinton party, I'll tell you. I did a lot of things for the Democratic Party while he was in office, and, you know, selective things, so I wasn't out there all that much publicly. But we've been friends a long time, and he invited me to come on a trip to Africa. And I've been fascinated by Africa. A place he
cares
has
about
enormous affection for.
Right.
So we went to 7 countries: Ghana, Rwanda, Mozambique, Nigeria, and ended up in Johannesburg with Nelson Mandela for an event there.
First time you'd met Nelson Mandela?
No, the second time I've met Nelson Mandela. Very impressive figure.
Nobody in the world.
Nobody in the world like him.
And he has more stature, more dignity, more sense. It doesn't even matter anything else. You just, when you walk in the room, you look at this man and you say, there's what it means to stand tall, right there.
Yeah. So it's a very impressive experience. I learned a lot. And then we went to London because he'd been asked by the Prime Minister to come to a Labour Party conference. So he said, you want to come?
You said,
so I said, sure. Why not? That'll be interesting. So I went there, and it was fascinating, and really got to see how he writes a speech.
He writes his own speeches?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was really kind of remarkable in Blackpool. He got up at about 8 in the morning, and he wrote from 8 until about 5 minutes to 2. And we walked into his suite, and he was still sitting there in his T-shirt and shorts, and we said, Mr. President, you know, you're giving the speech in 15 minutes. And he went, oh, hell.
He said, oh, hell.
I'll get dressed in 2 minutes and pack in 5. And so he did, and we raced off to this conference. And he had crossed out everything in a speech that had been sort of typed up and wrote in the margin. And he wrote from 8 in the morning until 5 to 2, and he walked onto that stage with no teleprompters and just gave a 25-minute speech. That was a great speech. I think what happens is, as he's writing it, it goes into his brain. It's a remarkable memory.
I was in London at the time, not at the Labour Party convention, but I was in London at the time working on a piece for 60 Minutes. And the London papers were falling all over themselves to saying that the Labour Party gave him a more enthusiastic reception than they gave his friend, Tony Blair.
Well,
it's true.
They were very kind to...
I mean, he stood in the middle. They had this interesting podium, as you know. He stood in the middle of everybody around you, almost like theater in the round.
That's right, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, he was welcomed there. I think it's the first time that a former president has been asked to give the keynote address. And I think he spoke profoundly about a lot of the issues that, you know, they're looking at the third way as well over there, trying to make it work. And spoke on a lot of issues that were very vital, and I think he did some good.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about this guy?
Boy, that's a loaded question. The biggest misconception. That he only eats at McDonald's.
or that he eats too much at McDonald's.
I feel your fries. I do.
Oh, come on.
I do, Charlie. I'm glad you got that heart thing done. It's good. We need you around. You're one of the good ones.
I can feel better, too. And run faster. Bobby Darin. I've been wanting you to do this for a long time.
Well, I'm going to do it.
You are?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the next film I'm doing.
For you, what is it about Bobby Darin, other than the songs he sang and the voice he had, that made him so compelling a figure for you?
I think I understand what drove him on a certain level. I mean, to find out when he was 11 years old that he probably wouldn't live to see the age of 15 because he caught rheumatic fever as a child and actually overheard the doctor say he wouldn't live. I think that planted the seed in him that he was going to do everything he could in his life. He was going to be the best. He was going to be the brightest. He was going to be the most energetic, the most entertaining. He had a goal to be the greatest nightclub entertainer the world had ever seen, and then he thought he was going to die, except he didn't. Now what do you do? So I think he then went on a crusade to reinvent himself. And what a lot of people don't know, you know, people know about 4 songs from a jukebox. But in fact, he went through more genres of music than most people do. He started in rock and roll, went to pop music, went to folk music, went to country western, went to gospel music, wrote protest songs, and had hits in every single genre. I think other than Elvis Presley and Ray Charles, he's the only artist to have hits in every single genre. So
pretty good company.
Kept shifting. He also became an actor, and in fact was nominated for an Academy Award for a film he did with Gregory Peck called Captain Newman, M.D., which he gives a great performance in. I think that part of what it is I understand the drive to not want to be pigeonholed, to not want to have people say, oh, that's what you are, oh, that's what you do, that's it, and close you off. I think he kept wanting to sort of, and he did, he reinvented himself physically. I mean, he went through all these enormous changes. And I think had if you took all the music out, he still had this remarkable life, because very late in life he found out that his mother, who he had believed in more than anyone else, who had taught him almost everything he knew and taught him more than anything else, never lie. Never lie. It's one of the reasons why people thought he was so abrasive, is because he told you what he thought. He found out that was his grandmother. And his sister...
Who was his mother?
His sister was his mother. He found that out at the age of 34. It's a pretty remarkable thing
This is a story.
to learn.
Now, who's going to direct this movie?
I think I may take a shot at it myself.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Good for you. Because you've lived with this idea.
I
and
have.
because the idea of the nightclub performer, you feel like there's something inside of you that's a performer.
Man. You know, oh yeah. I mean, and the great fun is over the last year and a half, I've been working really quietly with Phil Ramone, who's a great record producer, right, and Roger Kellaway, who was one of Bobby's accompanists at one time, on all the musical stuff. So it's been an incredible journey so far.
Good for you. Great to have you here.
Thank you
Good
very
luck
much.
With TriggerStreet.com.
Nice to see you.
Kevin Spacey, thank you for joining us. See you next time.